Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. Today, I will be reading from the r/EntitledPeople subreddit, so let's jump into it. When my sister went on a hunger strike to get out of doing chores. This story isn't so much about me as it is my dad trying to deal with my mother and sister. While we were growing up, my enabling mother spoiled my sister horribly, and not a lot my dad did was able to change that, which was definitely one of the reasons for the eventual divorce, though infidelity was the main one. Anyhow, I don't remember the details on this story that well, so it'll be pretty vague. This was around, I think, 2002. My dad was home on his day off from work and was trying to get my sister to do her chores because my mother would always try to make me do them instead. On this particular day, my dad was making my sister do the dishes. My mother openly tried to say that I should just do them. Some fighting went on, and my sister ended up having a tantrum and throwing a plate back in the sink, then flopping down on the floor to scream and cry. She was about 9 or 10 years old at the time. My dad grounded her for a few days for refusing to do chores, and so my sister declared that she was going on a hunger strike. For the rest of the day, she refused to eat anything and only came out of her room to use the bathroom. My sister actually refused food for 3 days before my dad caved. It wasn't just because of her refusal to eat though. My sister was bad-mouthing my dad at school by saying he was abusing her by not feeding her. Thankfully, the school though knew she was lying. My dad prepaid monthly for my sister to have hot lunches at the school, but my sister was refusing to get them. So that made it pretty obvious she was lying. If you're saying your father isn't feeding you when he's literally prepaid for you to eat. A couple of teachers who didn't know about my sister's BS yet tried to call and rip into my dad. When he pointed out the facts, they apologized. My sister was made to see the school counselor, but they didn't get far with her. So, in the end, my sister won because she refused to eat, and my mother was going crazy on my dad about it. Eventually, my sister not doing chores unless punished was basically a norm. My dad could get her to clean her room twice a month, but other than that, she didn't really do much unless she was in trouble. A whiny sister wants more monies. This story takes place in the 2000s. My little sister was the most entitled brat you could dream of. She made Veruca Salt look like an angel. She had a bad habit of breaking into my room and stealing my money, so I got a safe that I put in my closet. Now that she had no chance of getting at my money anymore because it was in a safe, she just whined about being broke whenever her $100 monthly allowance was all gone. I mean, really? This was 2004. That was a lot to get for a monthly allowance, and most of my peers told me they didn't even get an allowance, and others said that they were lucky to get $5 or $10 a week. My dad was more than generous to be giving her and I that much each. Originally, it was $50 a month, but my sister flipped out when I got an increase when I was 13 because I was older. Our dad finally caved when she was 11 and gave her the same amount as me. She'd just spend it all in the first couple of weeks on anything that suited her fancy, and then would pout for the rest of that time. Anyways, like I said, since she couldn't steal my money anymore, she resorted to just whining in front of everyone about how broke she was. I'd hear her walking around the hallway and saying, this new game just came out and I can't afford it. Or, aw, if only I had a few extra bucks to go have a day out with friends. She did this in front of both of my parents too. It was one of the few times I'd see my enabling mother actually ignore her, and our dad would just tell her that he'd given her enough money for the month. However, my sister did not let up on this. She did it nearly every day once her allowance ran out. Eventually, my mother was fed up and came knocking on my bedroom door. The following combo is paraphrased from what I can remember. "What is it, Mom?" "I need to talk to you." "About what?" Open this damn door and I'll tell you. I opened my door and my mother was just standing there with her arms crossed. I'm sure you've heard your sister lately. I want you to give her your money. What? No, I'm not just giving her my money. Well, I thought maybe you'd come around as a big brother, but I guess I was wrong. She does nothing to earn any more money than I do. I also know that I'll never be paid back. And besides, you always act like she doesn't need to do anything to get more money, yet you don't ever give her any extra cash. At this point, I'll only loan her the money if you sign an IOU with her. So that would mean that you have to pay me back if she doesn't. I don't have to pay you anything. You live under my roof, so you should do as I say. You and sis keep trying to extort me. You never give her anything, yet you arbitrarily expect me to just hand over whatever I have to her, even though I'm saving it for my future. I cannot or will not hand over any cash unless it's a notarized loan that you have signed, and Dad is fully aware of. Also, this is not just your roof. If anything, it's Dad's, because he pays for nearly everything. Fine! I won't bother you about your precious money again, you greedy little shit. Downstairs, I could hear my sister loudly ranting when my mother told her I refused. So, for the next few days, just to be petty, my sister would kick my bedroom door as she walked by it. I really didn't care because I wasn't gonna let her annoy me. When I wasn't reacting, she decided to take it up a notch by sneaking out in the hallway in the middle of the night and pounding on my door to wake me up, then run back to her room. She only did this twice though before Dad confronted her because she woke him up as well. He threatened to deduct money from her allowance every time she did it again. That put a stop to it pretty much right then and there. But no, my sister never stopped complaining about being broke. So, if you didn't notice yet, this is an OP we've read about before named Craigle Tom, and I will link his Reddit account in the description if you want to read his multitude of stories about his awful mother and sister if you want. The reason I haven't read all of them on here is because there is speculation that this account might be entirely fictional, but I have read a few of his stories because they're entertaining AF nonetheless. However, even if these stories aren't real, I'm going to give my 2 cents like I always do. Whenever I read stories like this, where there's a horrible mom/wife, I get a lot of comments that say, "Why didn't this guy divorce his wife sooner? I would have divorced her a long time ago." And in my opinion, it's just not that easy. When there's no children in the equation it is, but when there's kids mixed into a marriage that involves one parent being a narcissist, it is extremely dangerous to leave your children alone with that narcissistic parent. To put it into perspective, imagine if OP's dad left and OP was alone with his abusive mom and sister. I'm sure that's a thought that went through OP's dad's mind, and I am almost positive that that is why he stayed with her. And don't get me wrong, I usually am an advocate for people not staying together for the kids. I think people should get divorced as to not cause stress on the children by staying together and having them be brought up in a household filled with fighting, but that is only if both parents are loving and the kids can be left alone with one parent or the other. But that is just simply not the case with this family. Anyways, I am happy to report that in present day time, this sister actually became a decent human being. Her and OP are close, and they have both gone no contact with their mom. So, a happy ending at least. But that is all for me today. I hope you enjoyed these 2 entitled sister stories by Craigle Tom. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit story. Bye!